Amiri Diwan has dismissed as untrue circulated reports about His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, stressing that his health condition is stable. In a statement, Minister of Amiri Diwan Affairs Sheikh Ali Jarrah Al Sabah stated that the Amiri Diwan is in touch with Deputy National Guard Chief Sheikh Mish'al Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, who accompanies His Highness the Emir on his treatment trip, and he affirmed that His Highness the Emir's health condition is stable and he is receiving his prescribed treatment. Sheikh Ali Al-Jarrah noted that His Highness Sheikh Sabah Khalid Al-Hamid Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, is keen on briefing the people about the health of His Highness the Emir in the Cabinet statement after its weekly meeting. Rising floodwaters following weeks of record-breaking rainfall around the sources of the Nile have claimed more than 100 lives, disrupted power and water supplies, and forced thousands to flee their homes in 17 of Sudan's 18 states. Almost 2 months after the seasonal rains began, there is little relief in sight. Sudan's Security and Defense Council was forced to impose a 3-month national state of emergency on September 4th after the death toll neared 100. Syrian firefighters and army helicopters Wednesday battled forest fires for a 7th consecutive day in government-held areas of the war-torn country. Damascus ally Iran sent in a firefighting plane Wednesday carrying 40 tons of water to help fight the fires in the hilly woodlands of Latakia and Hama provinces in northwestern and central Syria, respectively. State media has published repeated images of billowing smoke above treetops and charred vegetation. The Sultanate of Oman will tap local and international debt markets to fill state coffers badly hit by low oil prices and the economic downturn caused by the coronavirus crisis, its state news agency said on Wednesday, citing the finance ministry. A relatively small crude producer burdened by high levels of debt, Oman is more vulnerable to oil price swings than most of its wealthier Gulf neighbors. Oman's fiscal deficit could widen to 16.9% of gross domestic product this year from a 7% deficit last year, the International Monetary Fund has estimated. The International Monetary Fund warned that the coronavirus crisis was far from over and underscored the need for multilateral cooperation to ensure adequate supplies once a vaccine is developed. In an essay published in Foreign Policy magazine, IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva and Chief Economist Geeta Gopinath said the ongoing economic recovery from the crisis was the result of the rapid implementation and unprecedented scale of government and central bank support, but more efforts would be needed. Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan said the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia supports all efforts to reach a comprehensive solution to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and the establishment of a Palestinian state based on borders before the 1967 war. In his speech at the virtual meeting of Arab foreign ministers, Prince Faisal also urged the international community to work on stopping the Houthi militias in Yemen from carrying out rocket attacks and launching drones on civilian areas and airports in the kingdom. He called for self-restraint in Libya and to preserve its unity and territorial integrity. Lebanon's Banking Association has sought clarifications from the bank about calls for the repatriation of deposits and other demands aimed at addressing a banking crisis caused by the nation's deep economic problems. The Association of Banks in Lebanon sent a letter to Banque de Liban last week seeking further detail, adding that in principle the association supported the central bank's efforts to address the crisis. Some analysts have said fixing the banking sector will depend on having a much wider economic rescue plan in place. Damascus has sent its clearest message yet that the amendment of the constitution through UN-led talks in Geneva will not take place before the presidential elections in mid-2021, which implies the polls will be organized based on the constitution of 2012. Moscow indirectly approved Syria's proposal on Monday after Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said, following his meeting with Syrian regime president in Damascus, that there was no timetable for the amendment and that the presidential elections were a Syrian sovereign affair. Iraqi security forces expanded its campaign for gun control with raids and inspections reaching out from Baghdad and Basra to other governorates. Basra Operations Command units managed to arrest 40 law fugitives and seize 16 Kalashnikov rifles and a sniper shooter. Security sweeps for IS remnants also took place in Kirkuk Governorate, where 3 IS hideouts were raided and 40 rockets and 300 projectiles were seized. Morocco's government extended a medical state of emergency until next month in the face of a sharp rise in coronavirus cases. Emergency measures were first put in place in March. Casablanca, along with Marrakesh, had already been subject to a series of restrictions 3 weeks ago, including beach closures and shortened business hours. Iran's nuclear chief Ali Akbar Salehi said Iran has begun to build a hole in the heart of the mountains near its Natanz nuclear site for making advanced centrifuges, aiming to replace a production hall at the facility hit by fire in July. Iran said at the time that the fire was the result of sabotage and had caused significant damage that could slow the development of advanced uranium enrichment centrifuges. Due to the sabotage, it was decided to build a more modern, larger, and more comprehensive hall in all dimensions in the heart of the mountain near Natanz. India's top tourist attraction, the Taj Mahal, is set to reopen more than 6 months after it was shut, even as the vast nation battles soaring coronavirus infections. India overtook Brazil to become the world's second most infected nation, with more than 4.2 million cases, behind only the United States. Visitors will be limited to 5,000 a day, down from the usual daily average of 20,000. The results of a recent survey released recently revealed that many Germans believe in conspiracy theory. 1/3 of the respondents said conspiracy theory does exist. The survey carried out by Germany's Konrad Adenauer Foundation and the Infratest DMAP Institute showed that some 11% of respondents said it was definitely true that secret powers control the world, while 19% said it was probably true. However, over 62% of the participants said this theory is probably wrong. 27% of respondents said this statement was probably incorrect, while 35% said it was definitely incorrect. The remainder did not give an answer.